Hey guys, so I'm actually on holiday for a week, but I wanted to keep doing some content on this channel because I've just recently had a video do really well. And for those of you that know me, I have a main channel called Excoundrel where I've done a lot of different games since I started YouTube. I started in Vainglory. If any of you guys remember Vainglory, let me know in the comments. Those are my real OG followers. And then I did loads of other games, like I did a bit of Rules of Survival, if anyone remembers that game. And then I did auto chess for a long time, which I gained quite a lot of followers in auto chess. I did TFT, did Wild Rift, and most recently I'm doing Warcraft Rumble, which I still really enjoy. But because I really loved AFK Journey and I didn't want to change games from Warcraft Rumble, I created my second channel. And it was, I was doing it for fun to begin with, but one of my videos recently just kind of did really well. And my subscriber count started going up. So if you guys have been watching and you'd like to subscribe, that'd be really nice, because what I'd really love to do is get to this channel to a point where it becomes viable for me to continue doing it, which basically means I need 1,000 subscribers. I'm a quarter of the way there, and I've been doing this a week, so I'm really happy with that. Let's first of all talk about what we're going to cover in this video. If you guys have seen those videos out there that are like, hey, this is the meta comp right now. This is the meta comp to push AFK levels. And you run Brutus, you run Antandra, it's like Koko in there, etc. This is going to build upon that video because people have evolved the meta comp to be even more kind of focused in what it does. And so what this video is going to be about is talking to you specifically about the meta comp, but also we're going to be talking to you a little bit about kind of how you actually use the meta comp and the positioning and why the positioning matters, as well as which artifacts to use. Because recently people have kind of switched over to going towards the Star Shard artifact because it deals a lot of damage and you cast your ultimates a lot because you're running Rowan. So we're going to talk all the way through that. And in the background, you're going to see me, I just kind of recorded me doing and pushing AFK levels. And I'll be honest with you, I did these on auto battle. That is how good this comp is. I'm going up against levels that are far superior to my own, powers that are far superior to my own, and this comp is just doing it for me, which is great. So we're going to talk a little bit about the composition and the positioning specifically, because the positioning is kind of what has made this comp feel a little newer, as well as the fact that a lot of people are now using the Star Shard artifact as well. Now, some people have probably covered this already. People have covered this composition massively so on Reddit, on YouTube. I've already seen people talk about this composition. In terms of non-negotiable parts, because we're running the 2-tank version, there is a 1-tank version with Antandra, but we're going to run the 2-tank version here. You need to have Brutus, Antandra, Rowan, and Cecia. Okay, so it doesn't really matter about the ascension level of Brutus. The higher the ascension for Antandra, the better. The same with Rowan. But for Brutus, it's not that big of a deal because ultimately the one thing we want from him is his invulnerability that buys us time. And then the core piece of this puzzle is going to be Cecia. Cecia needs to be our highest level. She also needs to be our highest ascension. This comp is built around using Cecia as your primary DPS carry. This is because most of us have unlocked Cecia as part of those first 10 pulls. Many of us will have focused on her as a core carry because she's just very good in the early to mid stages of the game at just single-handedly carrying teams. Now, the last part is where you can be a bit flexible. If you have a high tier Smokey, I would suggest that you use Smokey. I have found this composition to be much more effective with Smokey. If you don't have Smokey, this composition still works very well, but with Koko. So you can run Koko or you can run Smokey. I find that Smokey, with the extra healing, it gives a more lease of life to Brutus and Antandra, which buys you more time. But Koko can achieve that through damage reduction, and she can also give you the lifesteal necessary to kind of keep yourself going too. So it can be Koko or it can be Smokey. The one thing that I would say about Koko though is that you do need to probably manually cast because you want Koko to ultimate after Cecia. Cecia's summon benefits from Koko, so you need to get those Koko buffs onto Cecia's summon because it just makes it that much more powerful. If you're running Smokey, you can practically just leave it to do itself, and you'll notice all the way through the video I'm basically AFK battling the majority of these fights, and I pushed like 30 AFK levels with this composition. So let's now talk about the positioning. Okay, so this is the positioning. Why have we positioned like this? Few reasons. So The first thing is the tank positioning. That's the most important. You want to start Antandra behind Brutus, and you kind of want to start them as far back as physically possible, because again, the more time you can buy, the better. Now, what's going to happen here is Brutus is going to walk forward immediately, and he will draw all of the enemy aggro pretty much straight away. Antandra will cast. She will cast first and then follow. What that means is that Brutus is going to get immediately blasted, like he's going to take a huge nuke, but his invulnerability will buy him time, and it'll buy the rest of your team time. And once Brutus is low in his invulnerability stage, he'll get a Rowan potion, he may even get Smokey healed, depending on where he ends up on the field, and he'll actually then buy a little bit more time off the back of that as well. Once Brutus is dead, you'll either have Rowan having cast his ultimate, you'll have Smokey going, you'll probably have Cecia very close to casting her ultimate, and then Antandra will be able to tank for as long as possible, whilst essentially Cecia cleans up the fight with her ultimate. That is essentially how this composition goes. In terms of positioning of Rowan, you want him as close to everybody as possible, so Rowan generally goes in the middle of any composition because you want him to provide energy to as many of your targets as possible. Obviously, he also then provides an extra body for Cecia to block. Cecia goes a little bit further forward because you want her to be able to get auto attacks in pretty much straight away, and also gives her the ability to sometimes generate a little bit of energy if she's getting focused. And then Smokey right at the back, because you want Smokey to essentially keep healing Cecia, keep healing people as much as possible. Even though he's not going to get huge value out of his ultimate, it doesn't really matter. We are not bothered that much about getting heals onto Brutus and Antandra. Really, it's just about ensuring that we're making Cecia survive. And a double healer with Cecia, a double healer with the tanks is going to give you that much more longevity. If it's Koko, similar deal. You just want Koko to keep her ultimate up as much as possible whilst we have the Cecia ultimate going. And that is practically what happens. Now, if you really want to be effective with this comp, I would recommend that you manually cast the Cecia ultimate in the best place possible for you. Often that is on the backline, because the backline generally tends to be the highest damage dealers. But realistically, I auto play a lot of these with this composition. Like I said, this basically carried me like 30 AFK levels today. I did it literally just let it auto battle while I was hanging out with my wife, and essentially pushed me much further than I thought I was going to get. I'm kind of now catching up to some of the top players on the server again, just by playing this composition in this formation. And even when you have the walled levels on the AFK progress, it still seems to work quite well. Again, I've found more success with Smokey than Koko, but Koko can definitely work. And essentially, that is it. That's all there is to it. You just do this setup, and Brutus will draw aggro, Antandra will come afterwards, and then Rowan, Cecia, and Smokey will clean up. And sometimes, if you're having problems, you will have to end up like playing it and manually casting, but often that kind of sorts out your problems. Auto casting obviously isn't always going to get the best results. I did say I'll talk about artifacts. In terms of artifacts, a lot of people used to run, and the kind of the go-to, there was two go-tos really. There was Confining Shard, and some people used to run the healing one, just because the extra healing, especially with Koko, helps. What I've found, and what most people have found now, is that running the Star Shard one, which you unlock in the Dark Forest as part of the campaign, the Star Shard artifact, because we've got Rowan and because we're casting a lot of ultimates, actually gives us a really nice amount of burst damage, which complements Cecia's burst in the back line, which is actually very useful. And sometimes that extra a bit of damage can get you over the edge. However, there are some levels that probably would still warrant going for Confining Shard, so you would just retry things and test things out. If there's a level that's not working for you, swap Koko in. There are other comps that you can run depending on what type of mythics you've got. Often what you'll find in AFK progress is to run your best stuff sometimes, but this is kind of like the go-to cheese comp and setup for almost every AFK level. It will work for practically any AFK level. Even the ones where they're grouped up in the corner, even better, because Cecia is going to get way more value out of her ultimate. The spread formation, it works. The wall levels, it works. It is just kind of the go-to basic push as far as you can comp in AFK. And trust me, do it, because it will get you more rewards, more passive rewards, and you'll level up more quickly. Hopefully this helped you guys, and like I said at the start of the video, if you'd like to subscribe, it would mean a lot to me, because this channel is going quite well now, and I'm really enjoying AFK Journey, so I'll see you soon. And also I'm going to try and make at least a few videos while I'm here on holiday, just because I don't want the channel to go dormant in such a cool time for AFK Journey. So yeah, I'll see you soon.